For decades, the moon landing in 1969 was considered one of the greatest achievements of human history. However, after 6 successful Apollo missions, NASA suddenly halted its lunar program. This left many people wondering why we never returned to the moon, despite the rapid advancements in technology and space exploration. In this video, we will explore the possible reasons why NASA never went back to the moon and examine the various theories and controversies surrounding this topic. So buckle up and get ready to discover the truth behind this mystery. 9. One of the reasons is the end of the space race between the US and Russia, which was an extension of the nuclear arms race that started after World War II. The US committed significant resources to develop rockets that could travel faster and higher than the Soviets, or to put the first boots on the moon. NASA's successful Apollo program made the moon landing possible, but the end of the space race made it appear there was no longer a competition worth fighting for. Despite the success of the Apollo program, NASA's current budget limits its ability to return to the moon soon. Nonetheless, the scientific insights gained from the Apollo missions continue to fuel ongoing research and innovation in the space industry. Viewers need to stay informed and engaged in the world of astronomy as we continue to explore the mysteries of space. 8. Although a trip to the moon may sound exciting, it's important to remember the significant risks and dangers associated with it. The successful landing on the moon during the Apollo operations was not without its life-threatening challenges. 2 major accidents occurred during this time, including the fire incident on the launch pad of Apollo 1, which took the lives of 3 astronauts, and the explosion of an oxygen tank in Apollo 13. Reports also show that Neil Armstrong almost died both in lunar landing training and during the actual landing of Apollo 11. Additionally, other dangerous aspects of traveling to the moon include the accurate nature of the moon dust, the absence of sunlight for up to 14 days, extreme heat when there is sunlight, and the incidence of wandering asteroids. With all of these potential dangers, it's no surprise that NASA has not returned to the moon for further exploration. 7. NASA never returned to the moon due to the astronomical cost of the expedition. The Apollo project cost $25.8 billion, and over 400,000 people, along with 20,000 firms and universities, supported the launch. President Nixon was concerned about the expense and danger of the project. NASA is working to make the International Space Station more efficient, but the Artemis program's SLS rocket is not reusable. Elon Musk's SpaceX is building the Starship, a cheaper and eco-friendly reusable rocket, which costs $5 billion compared to the SLS's $23 billion. However, Starship needs to prove its success in the Artemis program. Many tests could negatively affect the entire program, according to Lori Garver, NASA's former deputy administrator. 6. Another reason for the lack of return to the moon is the absence of public interest. A 2018 Pew survey revealed that while most Americans support maintaining U.S. leadership in space exploration, they prioritize climate research over missions to the moon or Mars. Moreover, only 13% of respondents considered sending astronauts to the moon a top priority. The lack of public interest was most evident in certain African American communities, with civil rights protests led by Ralph Abernathy, in which protesters carried placards criticizing the Apollo program's cost. Additionally, there has been a decline in the number of kids and youth interested in becoming astronauts. Research shows that today, more children aspire to be successful YouTubers than astronauts. This reduced interest in space exploration has made investing in a return to the moon less of a priority for policymakers. 5. The 5th reason for not returning to the moon is the ever-changing priorities of the nation. Issues such as climate change, asteroid tracking, poverty alleviation, gender equality, funding for peace missions, and counter-terrorism have taken precedence over moon exploration. The 1973 oil crisis also shifted the nation's priorities, resulting in a reduction in NASA's budget and limited research and missions beyond low Earth orbit. As a result, the budget for NASA has continued to dwindle, making it increasingly challenging to fund a return mission to the moon. According to a 2005 report, it would cost over $100 billion to return to the moon, which is not feasible given the more pressing matters at hand. Therefore, moon exploration has been put on hold while the U.S. government focuses on more pressing issues. 4. The frequent changes in government and policies pose a significant challenge to NASA. With each new administration, NASA's plans and goals are impacted by the president's beliefs and aspirations. Administrations tend to prioritize projects that can be completed quickly, neglecting long-term, capital-intensive programs like the space program. This administrative whiplash makes it difficult for NASA to commit to projects that will outlast a two-term president. For example, the return to the moon program initiated by George W. Bush was canceled by Barack Obama due to NASA's inability to estimate the program's cost, which was billions of dollars over budget and years behind schedule. Despite this setback, NASA's current program to return astronauts to the moon, the Artemis program, was initiated under the Obama administration with the Space Launch System rocket. However, critics of the program have ridiculed it for being linked to the Senate launch system. Under Donald Trump's administration, NASA was put back on track, prioritizing missions to the moon and Mars with the Artemis program. Trump aimed to return astronauts to the moon in 2024 and maintain a sustainable human presence. However, changes in government and policies have resulted in several program cancellations, wasting time and money. Fortunately, the current president, Joe Biden, has maintained Trump's Artemis priority and requested Congress to grant $7.5 billion for the program. He has also refused to interfere with the Space Force. Despite the challenges posed by changes in government and policies, NASA remains committed to its long-term goals of exploring space and advancing scientific knowledge. 3. Another reason for NASA's hesitation to return to the moon is the need to ensure that the benefits of such a mission are worth the risks and investment. Critics argue that the potential benefits of returning to the moon are based on theoretical beliefs, and the government is hesitant to invest taxpayers' money in a project with uncertain returns. Some argue that the real issue is not simply the ability to return to the moon, but rather the question of what we hope to gain from it. Some researchers believe that the moon holds scientific value in understanding the evolution of the solar system, given its lack of atmosphere and flowing water, which has preserved evidence of its origin. However, tragedies such as the 2003 Space Shuttle Columbia disaster have raised questions about the value of risking human lives in space exploration. While President George W. Bush saw landing on the moon as a viable mission to justify the such risk, the debate over the value of a moon mission continues to hinder NASA's efforts to return. 2. The second reason for NASA's hesitation to return to the moon is the perceived risks associated with lunar space. The moon's surface is littered with craters and boulders, which pose a serious threat to safe landings. Additionally, the environmental impact of lunar space, including the electrostatically charged lunar dust and the harsh radiation, presents significant challenges for human exploration. NASA is developing equipment to mitigate these risks, but the question remains, why not send robots instead? However, astronauts argue that human contributions are invaluable as they bring unique perspectives and experiences that robots cannot. Despite rumors of dangerous aliens lurking around the moon, NASA remains committed to exploring the unknown, but with caution. 1. NASA faces challenges due to the instability and unreliability of software systems. Despite Eugene Cernan's landing on the moon during the Apollo 17 mission, NASA has not returned to the moon due to the risks involved. Aerospace engineers have not perfected their craft, creating an unreasonable risk. The Space Launch System has encountered glitches during tests, including a faulty valve and hydrogen leak in April 2022, leading to criticism of contractor Boeing. The last time NASA tested a new moon rocket was in 1967 with Apollo 4, and a 1970s report revealed 7 years of developmental activities involving thousands of workers from government, industry, and universities. The SLS took a few more years to reach the launch pad. The decision to halt NASA's lunar program was influenced by a combination of factors such as budget cuts, lack of public interest, and geopolitical changes. While the prospect of returning to the moon in the future seems promising, it remains uncertain if and when it will happen. Regardless, the legacy of the Apollo missions and the moon landing will continue to inspire future generations of space explorers. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any future videos. and share your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.